Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is TF2, of course. So in my last video on the TF2 matchmaking, this was the first impressions. I went over like, oh, this is some great amount of fun, tremendous amount of fun, I said. But I also specifically said that I only had the chance to play again during the third stress test, so it was only a limited amount of time, for about 1 hour or 2 hours maybe. But it was only a small amount of time that I had a chance to play. And my experience was pretty good, no horror stories or anything. Now, I had a chance to play a bit more of it, where I'm a lot more stressed since then. And some very friendly fellow also gave me his beta invite that he had, so thank you very much, by the way. So I had a chance to play a lot more of this. But after playing it for a bit while longer, I've noticed some pretty large issues that I had with matchmaking. Now, the first big elephant in the room, the big first problem, and that is, we have all experienced it. I think if you played matchmaking at least more than 5 matches, you probably have experienced it already. There are a lot of people just leaving the game. Abandoners, I call them. People just abandoning the game for no reason, even at the start of the match. It could be that they are just crashing, that's entirely possible, so I'm not sure if I want to actually blame them. And most of the time it's before the match starts, when some person is still loading up, and I think that's why, I think it is most likely just that them crashing the game, probably due to them using a custom HUD or some sort of config, which doesn't work with matchmaking, sadly. I wish it did. It's also really a problem with matchmaking. Actually, it's a pretty huge problem. Like, that's probably point number 2. And that's, you're not allowed to use any configs, FPS configs and such. Sometimes some commands work, sometimes it doesn't. It's really like trial and error to try and figure out what works and what doesn't. But back to the abandoners, of course, it's really annoying, and sometimes even when you're in the middle of a match, somebody leaves, especially if you're on a losing team, then somebody at a new team is like, well, fuck it, I can't lose any waiting. What? Anyways, I'm already like at the bottom of the ranking, so whatever, I just leave and prevent these other people from getting any rating, which is a very toxic behavior, and I don't approve of. Like, even I get really frustrated when they like get absolutely like destroyed in a match, but even I don't leave. I mean, it's very toxic behavior, and you just don't do that. That's just really a huge problem, and you need to fix that. They are trying. They give out like a ton of penalties to people like who left the games, and it doesn't work. Like, over half the games that I like join, people like just leave at the start of the game. Like, it's, I'm not sure if they're trolling or actually just like crashing the game or something. I don't know what's going on, but they need to fix that as best as they can. That's definitely like a big annoyance, especially if it's during a game, because like that's all of your like effort goes to waste. Second big problem is the rating system. Now, after playing like over 60 games now I think it's actually like 70 games, I'm just at the bottom of ranking. That's a really like frustrating thing. Now, I won't claim that I'm the best at Team Fortress 2. Like, I think if I reach rank 18, then I think that something's really wrong with the rating system. But I mean, I should be able to reach rank 5, I think I should be able to at least reach that, but no. I shouldn't be on rank 1, like, honestly. I think I'm pretty decent at Team Fortress 2. I'm not sure what's going on, and well, from my experience, it's really hard to gain a rating, and really easy to lose a rating. There's one way to go around it, and that's finding yourself like a pre-made group, and that's point number 3. And point number 3 is like, it has to do with matchmaking and balancing. Well, pre-made groups and balancing, if you will. Because a lot of people like notice that their ranking isn't going up, so they decide, hey, I'm going to like find myself a team, or I'm to start a small team of matchmaking buddies, if you will. But you need to keep in mind, if you do that, you actually like ruining it for the people on the other team, because they might be solo queuing. And if they're solo queuing, then of course they gain a significant disadvantage to your pre-made group. And I actually feel forced to like find myself a premade group, because otherwise I'm losing the other premates, and it's getting really frustrating. And what I've also really noticed with the balancing and premade groups is that I sometimes have to go against people that are like around rank 10 or something. Like I see them like with like golden C icons, like competitive icons. I don't really know what rank it is, but they're pretty high ranking, and I'm sitting there on like a rank 1, and I have to go against those people. I don't really know what's going on there. Maybe there are just not enough people that are on a high rank, so I have to go against them as a rank 1. And Team Fortress 2 isn't not really able to find people for them to go up against. Maybe that's the reason why I have to. But still, I mean, I don't think it's fair. I think it's okay for them to have like a slightly longer queue if they are actually like fighting against people that are like more balanced. So I think you really need to work on that, and also like perhaps find a way to like disadvantage premade groups a little bit, and just make them gain slightly less rating or something. I don't know. But premade groups are definitely something like they need to really work on, and if you're solo queuing, then chances are you have a very bad experience like I had. So the next big thing is probably optimization. Now, this is not really a problem with matchmaking per se. It's a problem with Team Fortress 2 as a whole, and that is that it doesn't run all that well. It's really significant. You don't want any frame rate drops in a competitive game. Any obstruction, any gameplay obstruction, whether it's like lens flares or low field of view or view models or low frame rates, you don't want that in a competitive nature. Any obstructions, your competitive player doesn't want it. He wants to play as optimally as possible. Now, it's a very old game, and old games are very prone to not really work on newer systems as well, and Team Fortress 2 is no different. Now, Team Fortress 2, I'm not going to explain like the whole situation of like how Team Fortress 2 works and it uses your PC power, but it's mainly like CPU bound. GPU wise, you don't need really powerful graphics card to be able to run Team Fortress 2 on max settings, given that the CPU is powerful enough. So it's mainly processor wise. And from what I've noticed is like Team Fortress 2 doesn't really utilize my CPU to its full strength. I'm running on like an i7 4770K. That's a very powerful and rather new CPU, and doesn't really use it all that well. It usually uses like about, I think, 30% of its overall strength. I think that's really like a bit of like a waste almost. So either they need to do something about either like making Team Fortress 2 use less CPU strength, or allowing it to use a larger percentage of your CPU's full strength. And that's probably something has to do with like the engine itself, so I'm not sure if it's even fixable at all. So they definitely need to do something about the optimization, but I'm not sure how they are going to solve that, to be honest. And the last big elephant in the room is probably cheaters. Up until now, people didn't really have a proper reason to cheat in Team Fortress 2. I didn't really understand why there were some people like using cheats in Team Fortress 2, and don't really realize it because you don't get any didn't get any advantage over anybody for doing so. You don't get more items or anything, but now you can actually get more rating, which again is not really that important. It's more bragging right than anything else, but it's more significant now, and it's more prone to cheating, and you're more people are going to try to do it, so they need to find a better system to deal with that. So all in all, I'd say there are definitely some big problems out there with matchmaking, but I don't blame the developers for anything. They are doing an amazing job so far. I think they have really been working well with that community, really talking with them, especially like some competitive players. And I think they've done more work in the last couple of months than they have done in the past year. So big props to the development team out there. I think you have done an amazing job. Just keep it up, and I think matchmaking will be amazing. It already is quite a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, everybody, and take care, folks.
Pretty good. Pretty good.